is up, everybody? You know who it is. It is your allies behind enemy lines, Ryan and Joy, coming at you thoroughly behind enemy lines in Cowboys territory, holding it down for all our Washington football team fans. I'm down here in Dallas in the thick of things. Joy's holding it down there in Austin. If this is your first time, first off, where the hell have you been? Second off, go ahead and check us out anywhere you can find your podcasts: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Am I forgetting one? SoundCloud. You can also check us out on SoundCloud, all by searching Allies Behind Enemy Lines. Make sure you're subscribed, like, rate, review, all that good stuff. Obviously, you can also check us out here on YouTube. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so as soon as we drop the latest and greatest heat, it's delivered right to your phone. It lets you know. It says, hey, look, I'm here. Listen to me. Watch me. Send it to your friends. Send it to your family. You can also check us out on Facebook, Allies Behind Enemy Lines Podcast. Keep your grandma, your grandpa, your aunt, your uncle. Keep all them up to date on our stuff, too. And then, of course, you can check us out on Twitter at AlliesBEL. If you click on our Twitter, go to our bio. There's a link there. You click on that link. You know what you'll find there? Joy, you know what they'll find there?
What will they find?
They will find this dope-ass T-shirt.
Oh,
Hashtag we all need allies.
I'm not wearing mine today. I only got half of them. But, yes, you will find that nice T-shirt there. Doesn't it show off the guns or something? Isn't that the...
Shows off the pipes pretty good, you know. Nice and forming. You know, I wasn't going to say it this time because I've done it the last two times. But, you know, I don't want to get
It's got to become your shtick.
So it's nice. It's soft. This is a great quality T-shirt. Again, has our hashtag on there, hashtag we all need allies, and it has, of course, our logo, a Washington Football Team podcast. We are also, for the second week in a row, streaming live on Twitch right now. So shout out to all our viewers right now in the chat. What's up to you guys? Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. You guys get to peek behind the curtain a little bit and see what goes on this madness that is this podcast. Yeah, so I think that's all the bookkeeping for the beginning of the show. Joey, first day of summer for you. Look, I kind of envy you a little bit because we all remember when we were in school, like that last day of school feeling, that first day of summer feeling. And you are an adult and you get to have that feeling still. And I'm a little jealous of it, I got to admit.
It's the best part about working in education is exactly the summer vacation. Kind of a little different now that I do have children because, you know, they do go to daycare during the day. And so I do have a time limit upon when the summer. So I do go when I go pick up my children. It's not like I just go run wild on the river all day. And So I do have to stay within a restraint. But it was good sleeping in a little bit today and actually streaming a little bit, like I'm saying this morning, going live. So first day out feels really good. But you're right. It does have that same type of feeling you have as a child to be like, yes, we have a little bit of freedom, a little bit of break from the routine and the day-to-day. So I'm feeling pretty good, pretty optimistic about this summer. That's not a pandemic. You know, last summer we didn't get one because everything was shut down right now. So I'm really looking forward to it. Glad to be
So now
here.
if you wanted to go run buck wild naked on the river, you could. Last summer you couldn't, but if you wanted
as long
to,
as I'm wearing a mask, I guess as long as I'm wearing a mask. Yes.
Yep. But so getting right into things, we are in the beginning of the dog days of summer. Just a lot of stuff going on, OTAs, things like that. You know, rookie mini camp wrapped up, and we're getting guys into the first phase of OTAs. A surprise signing this week is we signed Ricky Seals-Jones, tight end out of A&M. He's played around the league a little bit, most recently with the Chiefs, broke into the league with the Cardinals. My wife was a little upset because she's an Aggie. She went to A&M, huge Cowboys fan. And so when I told her, hey, Ricky Seals-Jones is coming over to the good side, she was, a little, not like she's a huge Ricky Seals-Jones fan, but, the way they always, that cult that they are down in College Station, for those of you that don't know, it's one giant cult that is the Aggies. They always root for their guys. So she was a little heartbroken there to hear that. But so yeah, that brings us up to what I say, 7 tight ends in the tight end room now, with all the offseason moves, with obviously the draft picks of John Bates. So I mean, quite a heavy position there that we're carrying at tight end.
Yeah, and it went from being an empty room as we started getting rid of everybody. Lost Sprinkle, who went and did sign with the dark side. But, Logan Thomas now has got some people around him to hopefully, help support that, get that run blocking going, with the signing of Bates, or the drafting of Bates, as you said, Ricky Seals-Jones. And then the Sammy Reyes, we've been hearing good things coming out of OTAs as well. That, he's just a phenom. First of all, works really hard, and we'll see how it goes when he starts, making some contact out there. But it's good to hear that we have, some options at tight end now that, can come in and just, have some depth there because, if, God forbid, something happens to Logan Thomas, I mean, who are we going to put out there? So, I mean, now that we have some depth out there, maybe we can run some different types of formations, and our receiving core is looking a lot more stable and solid with some, and with some position which depth. Which, I mean, the theme of our team, competition in each position is. I mean, you have depth at every position now, and everyone that's going to be on the field is going to have had earned that spot. So it's good to hear, good to see.
So looking at our tight end room right now, there's actually 8 guys, and of the 8, only 3 of them have 10 or more catches in their career. Obviously, Logan Thomas, Ricky Seals-Jones, and the other one, Dion Yelder, who has caught 3 passes in 2019, caught 7 passes last year. The rest, obviously, John Bates is a rookie. There's a fellow by the name of Dylan Cantrell. I believe he's just a camp body. Same with Tamarick Hemingway. Sammy Reyes, obviously rookie. Tyrone Swoops, only 2 catches in his career. That's a guy that we're kind of rooting for just because he's a hometown kid. Like I said, he's from not too far away from where I'm at right now, and by all means, a real nice guy. So, a lot of guys in the room, but as far as a lot of competition, I don't know if that's necessarily the case. If I had to pick 3 that we'd roll with, I'm assuming it'd probably be Logan Thomas. I'd put Sammy Reyes ahead of Ricky Seals-Jones just because of his potential and his size. And then John Bates, because I don't think you take a guy in the draft that you don't plan on keeping around. When we did take him, when there was other spots that we could have addressed and other players at that position we could have addressed. So I think John Bates, to say he's a lock to make the roster right now, is probably overstepping it. But if I had to, put it on a scale of 1 to 10, I feel pretty good about him probably making the team out of camp. And I would don't see them taking any more than 3 tight ends, especially because we have 37 wide receivers right now as well. And that, you want to talk about some competition, that's some big time competition right now in that wide receiver room.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that we're probably only to carry 3. I see probably just because of the experience factor that we probably start off the year with probably having Reyes on the practice squad, I'm assuming. And or I think he's one of those guys we can carry on the team as an extra person. I think we talked about that before because he's under that rule that was that international
player rule.
Yeah, but I think that allows you to take up that player as an extra roster spot. It doesn't take away from your 53-man roster. So, hey, there's our 4 tight ends right there. I think that sounds like a pretty reasonable amount. With Tyrone Swoops maybe jumping in there and getting on the practice squad or something like that and still developing, maybe a Logan Thomas cooking there. Real quick, before we go on, I want to shout out my regulars who stopped by to say hi. DJ Udi Sound and Asan. You guys are in class right now. You're your last week. Thank you all very much. Geo Man, thanks for the subscription. We got a subscriber right off the bat, so appreciate that. Yeah, shout out. But yeah, you're right. That wide receiver room is gonna be that competition. That we're already seeing it. I mean, we're seeing great catches going on out there in the competition. We see, it looks like the rekindled relationship between Samuel and Terry McLaurin. Not to mention can we call him Dynamic Brown? Can we just call him Dynamic Brown?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it's gonna be. Dynamic Daimi.
That dynamic Brown right there. Dynamic Brown. You got Hollywood Brown over there. We got Dynamic Brown over here in Washington. But just not to mention Humphreys. I think he's gonna throw his name in the hat out there. And we got some guys. Kelvin Harmon looks a little slimmer, a little bit more fit in the from what I remember. I don't remember him looking so crisp. And as far as his he looks like a wide receiver. He looks like someone's that's ready to compete. I'll tell you that much. And in shape. So no signs of any lingering injury from the film that I've seen so far out of him. So it's going to be a competition, and that's to watch that pecking order. It's going to be something that we're probably going to have to watch and probably unfold during preseason.
Oh, absolutely, it's going to unfold during preseason. And I think we're going to watch it unfold a lot before our eyes during these OTAs and these mandatory mini camps, things like that. So I think it's going to be it's going to be quite a battle. Steven Sims, which is a guy that has been mentioned with a lot of disdain on this podcast, not just from us but from guests that we've had. He wasn't at this round of OTAs. He wasn't the first one, so you think a guy that, he's got to feel like he's on the bubble, would try to take care of every advantage that he would want or that he could to stay in front of coaches' eyes, things like that. But as you mentioned, some of the guys that we had talked about maybe moving to tight end, we kind of tying the two things in together, Kelvin Harmon and who was the other one we mentioned? Was it Gandy Golden that we kind of mentioned maybe turning tight end? Both those guys are way too small. But with that packed tight end room, I just don't see that happening. Yeah, I just don't see that happening at all. I mean,
we have
you'd have to be just like a standout. I mean, these guys, like I said, way too small for these guys to be tight ends, especially with the tight end size that we're dealing with now.
McGanny
Logan
Golden's
Thomas,
got the
six
hype,
six two.
but he's got the hype, but he does. I mean, unless he bulks up, you know, and starts eating mashed potatoes every day, I don't know what the heck he's gonna do.
Yeah,
He's
6'4", 223. Yeah.
he's a lot of Popeye biscuits away from being a tight end there. Not to quote Mr. Booger McFarland on they give him a couple Popeye biscuits to get those guys their tight end size out there. So and as we've said, I mean, it's a room full of, and again, I don't know where would they even fall in that pecking order, because you're talking about inexperienced blockers. Because I mean, you know, that's a lot of what you hear is what I've been hearing. You know, the big media story right now, obviously, is Tim Tebow across the entire NFL playing the tight end position. And the biggest thing I keep hearing is that once you better get on that blocking sled. You know, you better get on that blocking sled, because that's, you know, guys are going to come right at you. And so that's not a position I think you can just dive into and expect to see success instantly as a wide receiver. So I think that, yeah, and as a quarterback as well for Tyrone Swoops. And so we're going to have to see how that kind of pans out. Again, I think it's going to be preseason battles and how they really manifest themselves on the field, who makes those final cuts. And what do you think, 6 wide receivers? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, 6 wide receivers, 3 tight ends, probably, I mean, either 3 or 4 running backs. I'd say probably 2 quarterbacks. So, you know,
And one practice squad. So who's practice? So I mean, you're talking about cutting Kyle Allen or practice squad, or you put him on a practice. You put him on a practice squad. Someone else is going to pick up Kyle Allen.
I don't think he's practice squad eligible.
Really? So
yeah.
then he just cut.
Unless they carried over that rule of after, because last year you could put anybody on the practice squad regardless of
the COVID
service time in the NFL. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be like that.
Rule, I don't think so either. I'd have to double check, but yeah, see you, Kyle Allen. Sorry. Later.
Yeah, because I'll tell you what, for sure we're not cutting Ryan Fitzpatrick unless obviously some kind of injury or some kind of freak occurrence. But from what I've, just from what I can gather, I saw a lot of questions from, what's his name, John Kilm, who was there in person.
John Keim.
Kilm. And people were asking him, like, so who do you think looked better, Taylor Heineke or Ryan Fitzpatrick? And he was dodging the question, and he said he didn't want to give anything out this early. Saying like that was his response. Like, I don't want to say it, but to me that almost leans to the fact that Taylor Heineke looks better, but he doesn't want to put that story out there because Ryan Fitzpatrick might not be as comfortable with the offense as Taylor Heineke has been in it before. So I'm not going to be. I would not be surprised if we have a Taylor Heineke starting day one. I'll tell you what, that's a guy that the team we already know he's got the team, and we already know he's got the balls, for lack of a better term, to go out there and do what he's needed to do. So I mean, what happens when like we've always said that, like, Taylor Heineke is like a smaller, younger version of Ryan Fitzpatrick. What happens when they meet? Who's gonna be the better one? And yeah, it's.
I think as true as that is, that Taylor Heineke and Ryan Fitzpatrick are kind of one and the same. One's just obviously a little older, a little younger. As far as just experience and being able to, I mean, look, Taylor Heineke performed great under pressure, but again, we saw 5 quarters of it.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen a lot longer. A lot more production out of Ryan Fitzpatrick. Now that's also allowed us to see a lot of the bad stuff too. I mean, we know exactly what Ryan Fitzpatrick, what the floor is. We kind of know what the ceiling is. But coming off his best statistical year ever in Miami last year with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he got benched just because they wanted to see what they had with Tua, I think he's coming in with a chip on his shoulder. I think he's coming in to prove some stuff. He's a guy that's going to stay loose. He's going to stay fun. We saw the video clip of him running around, sticking his tongue out, laughing while guys are chasing him. So, like, he brings a different type of leadership where Chase Young's leadership that we've talked about, some of the young guys that stepped up, they bring that intense leadership. Like, I got your back, you got my back. Like, let's go get them. Ryan Fitzpatrick's leadership is kind of like, hey, I'm going to keep the boys loose. I'm going to keep everything fresh. I'm going to keep everything, kind of, like I said, loose. But also, when it's time to grind, like let's do it. Let's get down to it. Let's make sure we get after it. And they know that I'm going to be able to do that. I mean, we saw his head he was looking backwards. He had an exorcist head going, and he still completed a pass down the field because he ain't going to give up. So he's going to take big hits. He's going to lay out. He's going to dive those extra 2 or 3 yards if he needs to get to the end zone or get to the first down marker. So I think it's got to be. I think Fitzpatrick and Heineke got to be the 2 guys going into the season. I don't see us taking 3 unless we do keep 3 and we just make one a healthy scratch every week. Kyle Allen. But I don't know. That kind of limits us at the offensive line. What we could do. Obviously, we have a ton of corners. Obviously, we're not going to keep all of them, but we have a ton of defensive backs just in general that we want to see in the mix. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see for sure.
Yeah, I mean, at every position. I mean, we're talking about all kinds of people. I mean, I hear them talking about Troy Apke getting a lot of corner reps. Trying him out of which I mean, in the slot, who knows? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, who knows? I mean, you're talking about you're getting beat on slants.
We're gonna be getting beat on slants, getting beat on deep routes, getting beat on corner routes, getting beat on ins and outs, stop routes, go routes, curl routes. He's gonna get beat on everything.
But I mean, that's also, as some people were saying, also a sign as like the last straw. Like, hey, he's not going to be our safety. I guess we can try him at corner, and then that way you'd be like, we gave you every opportunity to make this roster. We gave, so who knows if that could be the play too? Because I mean, he's also a great special teams player. That's the thing that goes.
That's what I was going to say. I think that's the only spot for him is have him be a gunner on punts. Have him be on kickoff because he can get down the field. He's fast, but it's like.
And I think now, I mean, more than ever, I mean, he's going to feel that pressure. So, I mean, those special teamers like that go all out because they know that's what they're making their money on. So, yeah. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, the more and more we hear about, now, like you said, we added Bobby McCain to the mix of that secondary, that the cornerbacks, who's going to line out as far as the rookies are to be concerned. It's a good problem to have, not to know exactly how everything's going to be, because kind of like when we already knew last year, we only had like looking at our depth chart, there's only, we need 3 linebackers, we only have 3 linebackers, so I guess we know who's starting. Yeah. It's not that type of season that we're going to be going into. But, as much as we can, and how much weight can we put into things this early, as far as things are going, we don't know what the next couple months are going to look like. We don't know what all these rumors of these players and the shuffling in the league, of Julio Jones, of Aaron Rodgers, of Deshaun Watson, if that's going to come anywhere near fly through us or have any kind of effect on what we're trying to do. Because I know some part of us wants one more huge piece, and I think the coaching staff does too. And I think that they're being involved in every quarterback talk, that they had been rumored to have this year. Just shows that they really still feel they can grab somebody like that.
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm good on Julio, and not because of Julio, who he is as a player, but just as far as what we have right now. Do we have one of the, arguably one of the best wide receivers ever on the roster? No, but for what it would take to get Julio, and then just the question marks around the healthy, his health and things like that, like, that's the only thing. Like, trust me, I would love Julio Jones. If we could sign him as a free agent, absolutely. But to have to trade for him, and then, there's a lot of questions about his health and how much production we would get for him if he stayed healthy, I'm all set there. And like I said, because of what we have in the wide receiver room right now, I feel great about it. There's a stat that I meant to bring up a couple times on the last shows, and I forgot until just now. 3 of our 4 wide receivers, Curtis Samuel, Terry McLaurin, Dimey Brown. Curtis Samuel 4.3 140, Terry McLaurin 4.35, Dimey Brown 4.4 40. So it's like we got speed, we got size, we got guys that'll go up and get the ball, and then you throw Antonio Gibson in there, who we mentioned wants to get mixed in the passing game a little bit more. A 4.3 940, a guy that played wide receiver in college. So we have all these extra pieces. Obviously we talk about Adam Humphries, and I almost called him Jordan Humphries. That's why I had to make sure I got his first name right.
McKissick.
So like as far as pass catchers, I think we're good there. So if it is a big move, I want it to be Aaron Rodgers. I want it to be Deshaun Watson. But if we roll with what we got now, that's perfectly fine with me too. Like I'm not gonna stress about it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not Julio. I don't think, like you said, is going to be what it would throw a monkey wrench in all kinds of things. I think what we have going on and what we have built in there, I think we have a good, healthy competition there. And again, I think the biggest, when you look at offense, obviously the biggest question mark is going to be to me is going to be quarterback position and what we do. I think that's going to, and on defensive side of the ball, I think it's going to be how our secondary lines out. So I mean, that's going to kind of be where those I guess wide receiving goes hand in hand with the quarterback, but I think we pretty much know which wide receivers. I think we've talked about that last week, and but it's gonna be interesting to see, kind of what happens. Is there somebody still that can come as a free agent next year? Is there other quarterbacks around the league, or is there somebody in house? It's the eternal question. And when do we start asking that again?
No, absolutely. I mean, they always say the best time to grab a quarterback is when you don't need one, and we kind of do need one. So I mean, we need to start trying to look down the road. I mean, we knew this Fitzpatrick thing was kind of kicking the can down the road as far as looking for that quarterback. Maybe they want to give Heineke or Kyle Allen another year to try to prove themselves, and so he's kind of the stopgap or the bridge, him being Ryan Fitzpatrick. Or maybe they have their eye on somebody that could be a free agent, or they're just, I mean, I just don't see it of them like, we'll see what happens. I mean, I've said that numerous times on here that Ron Rivera and company don't seem like the type to be like, well, we'll just kind of see what falls to us. Like, that's not the guys that they are. They're setting out a plan. And so once they reveal that plan, or once we see that plan take action, we'll kind of know. But kind of getting back to the secondary, this was a position a lot like linebacker where we needed some depth. Obviously, the William Jackson signing was huge, but now we have a ton of depth there. And that's one of the biggest things we needed was depth. So looking at the roster right now, Kendall Fuller, William Jackson, Bobby McCain, I don't know if you want to mix in Jimmy Moreland and Greg Stroman in there. I think those guys might be on the bubble. But obviously Jeremy Reeves and Benjamin St. Juice, we're gonna have a good mixture of guys there, and that's just like corners, not including safeties. Obviously, with our safeties, we have the Landon Collins, the Cameron Curl, Derek Forrest, who we drafted, DeShazer Everett, who I'm kind of out on, Troy Apke, who I'm definitely out on. So we've got a good mixture of guys, and like with Bobby McCain, they don't know is he going to play the nickel position? Is he going to play safety? Like, what's he going to do? I mean, there's a lot of questions, and not even questions, there's just more so like possibilities of what he can do. And I think that's huge, of being a guy that can be versatile. And that's definitely a way to get on the field and stay on the field. And it's, is he going to be the number 2 corner? Is he going to, like I said, there's just a lot of variables with Bobby McCain, which is great because he's a very good player. And, to be able to be dynamic and versatile when there's so many question marks with health for any NFL team, and then adding that 17th game too, definitely could add some variables there. So just having, again, not only depth, but guys that can play multiple positions is going to be huge for this team this year, and something that we haven't seen in a very long time with Washington.
Oh, definitely. I mean, again, it's a good problem to have. All the things we're talking about, this cloudiness around these positions, is that what it means. Again, competition. We're gonna have the best guys on the field. We always say iron sharpens iron. You're gonna have the best guys competing. It's gonna make, for a more dynamic play. Our wide receiver position has been all Terry McLaurin, the last couple of years. And before that, we had a nice balance, Pierre Garcon, Deshaun Jackson, however you want to say his name. But we've always had kind of a couple guys there, and it seems like now we have a ton of guys there. You can arguably, our division, other than the Eagles, has stacked wide receivers now. You're going to talk about, a pass division, not to mention the running backs. And so it's going to be, I think, not to mention just within our own team, it's going to be a more competitive NFC East based upon all this depth that all these teams are building, and all the other than the Cowboys on defense, they kind of did the same thing. But I guess with their linebackers, obviously they definitely did not build secondary depth, is what we're talking about here. Yeah. But it's going to be, the offensive line, the whole new reshuffle of this offensive line. It's just going to be different people, and it seems like people that want to be out there competing, because I guess there's rumors that have come out that the taking of the ping pong table out of there when Ron first got there, to people being on TikTok or on Snapchat during practices, and all those people are gone now. So so this new culture is a competitive culture, and people just want to play football.
That's what we're looking for. I mean, like I said, it's what we've been missing for a very, very long time. So couple other rumors that came across this week was the possibility of Jay-Z maybe looking to buy a stake of Washington, which not that he'd have any kind of big stake where he'd be making any kind of decisions similar to what he had with the Nets. I think he owned like 0.5% of a 1%. So it was like very, very minuscule. But kind of interesting again, especially now that Daniel Snyder has full control of the team and has purchased the full 100% stake of the team. He always kind of wants to be mixed in with the celebrities. He always wanted to be mixed in with KD and some of these other guys. So it wouldn't surprise me if that ended up happening. But again, it's not going to be something that's like super, it's not going to make a whole bunch of waves. It's just going to be the fact that, hey, Jay-Z's part owner of the Washington football team now.
He's not going to be making any trades for us. He's not going to be out there doing some.
He's not.
On the back of a blocking set, driving that defensive line. You never know.
Yeah, that would be pretty wild, but I don't see that happening.
Or who knows? He could be part of the naming campaign. He could name us something after one of his great songs. I don't know.
What would Jay-Z want to name the Washington?
The Big Pimpins.
The Big Pimpins. The Washington Big Pimpins. I can roll with that. I can roll with that for sure.
Right, they went from the Redskins to the damn Big Pimpins. What the heck? 2 steps forward, 1 step back. What are we doing around here?
Just a dude with one of them big ass pimp hats on the side of our helmet.
Exactly, and I'm gonna just have a big pimp be our mascot.
Be our mascot. That'd be awesome. That's hilarious.
Yep.
But that's all I got as far as news and notes. We can open up to the chat now if we still got some peeps going in there.
Anybody have any questions they want to? This is a new thing for us, is to open a question forum, but or any late breaking things you want to ask. But yeah, it's that slow time of year. I mean, what are they doing? On the morning football show this morning, they're like putting up like pictures. It was like they had like a Lance Bass from NSYNC, and then on top of them they had a red like cafeteria tray. And I'm like, which quarterback is this? All Trey Lance. And that's so that's the kind of news and notes you got going on right now. Or like which
that's from the big time shows too, with like millions and millions of dollars behind them. Like that's tough.
Exactly. And then the last week they had the what was it like which member of the NFL would make the best member of Survivor? Or should be on cast on the show Survivor. But what came out of that though was a great note that I didn't never know is was his name Barkevious Mingo? I think is his name.
Barkevious Mingo. Yeah.
It'd been in the league for like 7 years, I think, on a different team all 7 years, every year,
really?
And played in all 16 games all 7 years on all different teams.
That is interesting. That's crazy.
And that's Survivor. I was like that. So out of that crazy game came that fact. But so I mean, I guess you can find some nuggets within the craziness. But yeah.
While we're waiting for the chat to light up, a couple rookie numbers have finally been made official. Looks like Diami Brown is going to be wearing that number 2, so that's going to look dope. John Bates is going to be 87. Looks like William Bradley King is going to be number 56. This is all just, I don't know how much anybody really cares about this. This is just, I don't know. I like it. Sam Cosme is going to be rocking Morgan Moses' old number 76. And Derek Flowers is going to be 48. So those are going to be some of the numbers that you might see out there. I think we already talked about Sammy's Reyes is going to be wearing number 80. Bobby McCain is going to be number 38 out there. Dax Milne, 84. No word yet for Jarrett Patterson. I don't know if they're waiting for him. I mean, I don't know why they don't have a name listed for or a number listed for him yet. Same with Benjamin St. Juice. They don't have a number listed for him just yet either. So I don't know if that's something that you guys like. That's a little news on there. Shaka Tony, 58. So that should do it for our rookies there.
Shaka Tony. What about oh yeah, you didn't know Benjamin St. Juice. Isn't 38? No, I was gonna say Apke was 30. I was like, 38 Apke. No, that's so. Yeah, but I don't think the chat has any questions here. So I don't know if we we'll probably go ahead and and sign off for this week and hope that we get something exciting happening. So I know we're gonna get something happening with the Julio story because June 1st is the date for that next week. It's so funny. It's like I was talking to one of my coworkers about this as well. It's like, what's next to keep us, in the continuing drama of keeping the NFL relevant in May.
Yeah, no, seriously.
What story can we get out there? It's like to me, it was like, if I forgot what it was. I think I even tweeted something out about that. Like, can Julio Jones go to Green Bay and bring back Aaron Rodgers? And that's like the story. To me, that's a story that just writes itself, kind of like the Alex Smith story.
How about Alex Smith? Speaking of, did you see him? He was on Colin Cowherd's show, and he was sticking up for Aaron Rodgers.
Oh yeah,
the way he's been treated he's like, it was disrespectful. I can't believe they've been doing this to him. Yada yada yada.
Bad business. I think he threw bad business out there. He's like, when they drafted Patrick Mahomes, that was part of that whole process. It was not a shock to me when they drafted Patrick Mahomes the way it was a shock to him when they drafted Jordan Love. So, I mean, there's got to be some merit there, especially, again, if you're investing, like, it goes back to the old thing with Bill Parcells said, where was he? I forget which team it was, in New England maybe, where he said, if you want me to, cook dinner, you got to let me shop for some of the groceries. And, and now it seems like it falls down upon a quarterback. You want that quarterback, to win you a Super Bowl, you got to get him his frozen yogurt he likes. You got to get him his favorite sports drink. You got to get him his, quinoa. Whatever. I don't know. But,
if he likes Cheez-Its, get that boy some Cheez-Its.
Get the cheese. If he likes to put Spam, if he likes to put easy cheese on top of Spam, you get that. It doesn't make sense to you. He's a Packer in the cheese state. The people might not like fake cheese in the cheese state, but you still give it to him because he's gonna win you. He's supposed to win you the championship.
Yeah. No, it's that was interesting because you don't really ever hear a whole lot from Alex Smith, and for him to, those are two guys whose careers became synonymous together because they came out in the
and they looked alike too back then. They looked so much alike. They've kind of as they've grown beards and different, they look different. Yeah. But did you see the Aaron Rodgers too in Hawaii pics? He's just all like, I've never seen him so like chill. He always looks all stiff and like can't chug a beer at a basketball game, and he always looks so stiff. He looked like he could chug a beer at Hawaii right there. Like he looked like he'd be chugging that beer out there and jumping off a cliff jump or something. I don't know.
No doubt. Right on. Well, that'll do it for us here on the Allies Behind Enemy Lines podcast. Again, make sure if you're watching us here on YouTube, check us out. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. Find us anywhere you can find your podcasts: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud. Check us out on Twitter at AlliesBEL, where you can find our T-shirt. And also check us out on Facebook at Allies Behind Enemy Lines podcast. Make sure you tell everybody about it. Tell your friends, tell your family. We're probably going to do more of these Twitch things, so if you're a faithful Mad Dad supporter, hopefully you can support the podcast as well. And shout us out. Let us everybody know. Joey, you got anything else before we leave?
Not it. Just it's the summer of love has begun. So let's just all embrace the love of our world as it slowly turns back into normal. Have some real football where we can go in person next year. We're definitely going to be on location for a few games this year, and so it starts now, guys. The belief, the knowledge that we're going to be a dominant team for many, many years to come.
I know that's right.
All right.
I know that's right. All right, well, y'all take care. Enjoy your holiday weekend if you get that extended Monday off, or if you're off for the next 2 months, 3 months like Joey, enjoy that as well. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Y'all take care.